This is Discipleship Journey with DJ. I'm DJ Dixon, inviting you to grow deeper, walk closer, and live out the faith we profess. Let's open God's Word and continue the journey together. I want us to start exactly where Jesus starts. As mentioned in the earlier episode, with a call to follow Him. If you go back and you think about Luke 9 and verse 23 and how Jesus lays out discipleship really in just one clear and powerful sentence, he says, if anyone desires to come after me. That opening phrase reminds us that following Christ begins with desire. You see, discipleship is not forced. Jesus does not coerce anyone into following him. He invites. The question is simple, but searching. And the question is this: do I truly desire to come after Christ? Desire matters because what we truly want determines what we pursue. Many people admire Jesus, many respect Jesus, but discipleship goes beyond admiration. It requires pursuit. And Jesus continues in that passage of Luke 9 and verse 23 by saying, let him deny himself. Now, this is where discipleship becomes uncomfortable. Denying self does not mean denying our existence or denying our value, but it does mean surrendering control. It means laying down the throne of our own will and allowing Christ to reign. You see, self-denial is the opposite of the world's message. The world says, follow your heart, put yourself first, do what feels right, do what makes you happy. Jesus says, deny yourself and follow me. And then he adds, and take up his cross. Now, to us, the cross has become a familiar symbol. But to those who first heard Jesus speak these words, the cross represented shame, suffering, and death. Taking up a cross meant a willingness to die to self, to leave behind the old way of living. And then Jesus used a word that shapes the entire Christian life. And what is that word? Daily. Because, again, discipleship is not a one-time decision made at baptism and then placed on a shelf. It is a daily commitment. That's why we see in the scriptures of Romans 6 and verses 3 and 4 that one is buried with Christ in baptism to rise and walk in newness of life. That means every morning we wake up with a choice before us. And throughout the day, will I follow Christ? Will I follow myself? Which will I choose? Daily discipleship shows up in ordinary places. It shows up in how we speak to our spouse and how we treat our children and how we respond when we're wronged and how we resist temptation when no one else is watching and how we choose truth over convenience and obedience over comfort. Jesus doesn't call us to merely admire him from a distance. He says, follow me. And following implies movement. As I mentioned a moment ago in Romans 6, it says we arise to walk in newness of life. Walk, again, has to do with movement. It means we go where he goes, we walk where he walks, and we pattern our lives after his. And here's the encouraging truth. Jesus never asks us to walk alone. He walks ahead of us, guiding, strengthening, and yes, forgiving us when we stumble. Discipleship is not about perfection. It's about direction. And as we begin this discipleship journey together, let this be our foundation. A daily decision to deny self, take up the cross, and follow Jesus one step at a time. Thank you for joining me today. I want you to take this truth with you into the week ahead and remember, faith grows when it's lived daily. Thank you again for being a part of Discipleship Journey with DJ. Again, remember, don't just hear the word, live it. Stay faithful, stay growing, and I'll see you next time as we continue the journey together.